At the beginning of the story, Jimmy is watching TV with his sisters and cousins in the Scottish Highlands. Suddenly, a siren starts ringing outside and their aunt rushes to close the door, warning everyone not to move. The kids are scared as chaos breaks out around the house. The infected burst in, attacking the girls and devouring them while Jimmy hides behind the door. He uses the chance to escape, witnessing his mother being eaten in another room. Running through his home, Jimmy sees his relatives slowly turn into the infected, but he manages to get out of the building. More infected wait outside, so he hurries to the church to find his father and ask for help. Inside the church, the priest welcomes Jimmy and believes that the infected are a sign that Judgment Day has arrived. He hands Jimmy his gold cross and tells him to have faith. Suddenly, the infected break through the windows. Jimmy runs away, but his father stays behind, hoping for salvation. The infected swarm over him and turn him into one of them too. The chaos is caused by the rage virus. Continental Europe drives the virus away and cuts the UK off from the rest of the world, turning it into a wasteland where survivors must fend for themselves. 28 years after the outbreak, a community of survivors lives on Lindisfarne Island, safe from the mainland by a tidal causeway. Spike, a young boy, is about to learn how to kill his first infected. His father Jamie prepares breakfast but is interrupted when his sick wife Isla falls in the bedroom. Jamie and Spike rush in to check on her as she freaks out over Spike being trained today. After an argument, Isla calms down, confused and suffering from memory loss. Back in the kitchen, Spike receives a new bow from Sam. As they leave town, people cheer for Spike and wish him luck. At the town gate, Jenny reminds them of the rule: if someone doesn't return, nobody goes looking, as rescues have cost too many lives. Crossing to the mainland, Jamie shares old stories about life before the outbreak. They cross a bridge and reach the forest, carefully listening for enemies. They find a slow infected crawling, and Spike kills it with an arrow. Another infected approaches, and Jamie finishes it off as well. More monsters approach, and Jamie kills another, but Spike asks him to spare the last one. Jamie is proud of his son, even as Spike feels uneasy about killing. Exploring the forest, they discover beautiful animals and then an abandoned house. Inside, an infected is tied up, marked with letters cut into its back. Jamie explains someone left him as bait. He urges Spike to kill it, but the infected struggles violently and Spike hesitates. The infected breaks free, startling Spike into shooting, which kills him instantly. They wander further, finding a half-eaten animal with its head and spine stuck in a tree. Jamie worries for the first time, as only an alpha infected could have done this. He urges Spike to move quietly. The pair reach an open field, spotting a horde of infected and their alpha leader. They rush back to the forest, with Jamie training Spike to shoot on the run and aim for killing blows. They return to the abandoned house, shooting infected that follow and searching for a safe hiding spot. Eventually, they climb into the attic and hide as the alpha stays nearby. Jamie explains alphas are bigger and smarter, requiring many arrows to bring down, but they are out of arrows and must wait. Spike feels guilty about failing shots, but Jamie reassures him he did well. Later, they see quarantine patrol lights and, on the opposite side, a fire. Jamie avoids talking about the fire. Spike dreams that night about his mother drowning as the house shakes. Jamie wakes him. The house is collapsing and they escape moments before the roof falls. Knowing the noise will attract infected, the pair run for home as fast as possible. High tide covers the causeway, but they cross it anyway. Suddenly, birds scatter and the alpha appears, chasing them. Spike slips, but Jamie helps him and they make it back to land. Jamie yells and blows a whistle to alert the guards, who light up the area and fire arrows at the alpha. A flaming arrow finally brings the alpha down long enough for Jamie to drag Spike to safety. Jenny checks for infection before letting them in. Later at a party, everyone celebrates Spike's return and first kill, but he is uncomfortable about the killing. The crowd lifts him up on a chair and lets him drink, but Spike is overwhelmed and sneaks outside, only to see Jamie with another woman. Crushed, Spike heads home where Sam watches over Isla. After talking about his adventure, Spike asks Sam about the fire he saw. Sam says it was Dr. Kelson's doing, but offers no details. In the morning, Isla wakes with a headache and asks for medicine, but Spike can't find any. Jamie arrives and Spike refuses to talk to him, upset about his affair and hiding Isla's sickness. Spike asks Jamie why Kelson can't help. Jamie explains Kelson went insane years ago and tells of a horrifying encounter with Kelson among thousands of bodies arranged in circles. Dr. Kelson appeared, moving bodies and waving at them, causing them to flee in fear. Spike insists Isla needs help and confronts Jamie about his affair, earning a slap. Jamie regrets it, but Spike runs upstairs and grabs a knife, telling Jamie to stay away. Jamie disarms him but returns the knife to avoid making things worse. Later, Spike burns down a barn to distract everyone and escapes with Isla, promising to keep watch while the adults fight the fire. Once alone, he leads Isla through the gate and along the causeway to the mainland. She panics, calling for her father, but Spike calms her and promises the doctor will help. After a day's walk, they find a building for shelter. When Isla gets bored of keeping watch, she wakes Spike to share old stories and begins to call Spike Dad. Spike tells her to rest and keeps watch, though he falls asleep. An infected enters and tries to bite Spike, but spits out his shoelaces, then approaches his face. Before it can attack, Isla kills it by smashing its its head against a statue. Spike thinks he dreamed it, but finds the dead body. Isla claims not to know what happened. Meanwhile, a group of soldiers is running from a horde, shooting as many as possible before being overwhelmed. 3 soldiers escape to a tunnel, closing the gate and shooting more infected. Inside, they're attacked by an alpha, who kills 2 and forces the third to flee. Back with Spike and Isla, they continue on, handling Isla's delusions. At an old statue, Isla talks about Spike resembling her father. Her nose starts bleeding, which attracts an infected. Spike kills it and rushes to clean the blood from Isla's forehead before she touches it. More infected arrive, so Spike shoots arrows as they run off, finally reaching a gas station. They struggle with the door until they get inside, only to be followed by infected. The room is filled with noxious fumes as Spike throws objects at the monsters to slow them down. When trapped at a dead end, Soldier Eric appears, opens a ceiling hatch, and tells them to hide. He opens fire, triggering a huge explosion that burns the infected alive. Isla and Spike escape unharmed, and outside, Eric joins them, volunteering to carry Isla. After hours on the road, they take a break, and Eric attempts to use his phone, showing Spike a picture of his girlfriend. When the battery dies, Eric tosses the phone away. Isla wanders off at the sound of a noise, finding a train carriage full of rats and a pregnant infected woman. Isla helps her give birth and makes Spike cut the cord, cleaning the baby. When the infected gets aggressive, Eric shoots her dead and wants to kill the baby, but Isla and Spike argue it is human. Before Eric can shoot, an infected hand pulls him through the train roof. The alpha appears, furious over the dead infected. Spike shoots arrows to slow him down as he, Isla, and the baby escape. Dr. Kelson arrives, tranquilizes the alpha, and introduces himself, explaining iodine protects him from a virus. Kelson takes them to his bone temple, a shrine of bones and skulls. Eric's skull is added to the tower following his death. Kelson examines the baby and Isla, concluding the placenta protected the child and diagnosing Isla with terminal cancer. Isla comforts Spike before following Kelson into the forest for a mercy death. Spike remembers his happiest moments with his mother before Kelson returns with her skull, which Spike places atop the bone tower. When the alpha comes running, Kelson shelters the group in a hidden pit, but the alpha returns, breaks in, and attacks Kelson. Spike manages to tranquilize the alpha and save Kelson. Spike then returns to the community with the baby, leaving notes so everyone will know she is safe and uninfected. Jamie reads Spike's goodbye letter and tries to find him, but the tide is too high and he cannot reach the mainland. 28 days later, Spike is surviving alone and expertly hunting infected. When one attacks, he kills it instantly. A chance meeting brings him face to face with Jimmy, now older, sporting his father's gold cross. Jimmy and his team join Spike as more infected appear. Together, they fight off the monsters and laugh at their victory, forging a friendship as survivors in the ruins of the British Isles.